These DIY farmhouse decor are so high-end looking and so easy to make. Let's get started. So this first one here, I am going to take this door. This door was given to me by a family member. She actually gave me two. I recently updated one and made a Christmas sign for above my fireplace. But with the other one, which is this one, I am going to make it another kind of like wall decor, but completely different than what I made last time. So I removed the glass and now I am just marking about 5.25 inch um, on both ends or on both sides of the long side of the table. And now I am going to drill some holes right where I made the mark. That way I can place some dowels vertically. After I cleaned it off and dusted it off, I am going to give it 3 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. I am now going to use these dowels. I believe these are the 5/16, and I need 7 of them because that's how many holes I drilled. And now it's time to cut them to size. So I'm just going to use my little nifty little cutter here. And I do have this, actually I have a lot of these tools in my Amazon store. If you've never visited my Amazon store, it is linked down below. Check it out. I have most of my favorite tools, supplies, paint that I get on Amazon, and they're all very inexpensive. So after I cut them, I am going to give them 1 coat of Waverly chalk paint in the ink tone. I am now going to distress the frame with a 220, actually not 220, this is a 120 grit sandpaper. I'm just going to focus on all the edges. Alright guys, so here's the plan. So you saw me drill the holes on both ends, and I have the dowels here. The goal is to insert the dowel as far in as it goes, and then you see how here is just overlapping a bit. I'm just going to try to very carefully bend the dowel and get it in here. I did it once already to make sure that it would fit, and then the second time I did it, it broke. So I'm hoping they don't break because I don't have that many extra ones, but we shall see. So the first dowel was a success, and I ended up putting all other 6 dowels successfully as well, guys. None of them snapped and broke. I was so happy. I am now going to fill in the couple holes where the original handle was in. At first I thought I would use them, but I ended up changing my mind. So I'm just going to fill them in with some spackle and then retouch with some paint once it's dry. Here I am just retouching some of the dowel paint because as I was pressing them in, it got a little bit of that chalk paint on it, or the white tone. So I'm just going to clean it off a little bit. And then once I'm done with that, I am going to add a hook right above on the top where I filled in the holes. It's still drying a little bit, but I'm just going to drill it right in between both holes, so it should be okay to drill. This is just a hook that I get on Amazon. Again, it's also in my Amazon store. And I'm also going to place 2 larger farmhouse hooks on the bottom portion. That way it can be used to hang scarves, coats, purses, whatever it may need. The smaller hook that I'm drilling in right now, it's to be able to hang a wreath.
Tonight we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning? Would you stay till the morning light? Or would you follow me? Or would you let it be if I leave tonight?
Alright friends, so I'm just about done with this DIY, and I tell you what, this one turned out absolutely amazing. I love the way those dowels look. It gave this door a completely different look. I love that it's just a frame now and it's a wall decor. I love that it can be used even on top of a fireplace, or it can be used on a wall where you can hang decor or just anything else you'd like to hang. It's beautiful. All right, so I am going to take this thrifted sign. It's like a wall decor. I recently updated the other half of it. It was actually a set of 2, and I did something completely different. If you haven't watched that video, I'll have it linked down in the description box. And I'm just going to give this one several coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, going in all different directions. That way, it'll have like texture to it. Once it was dry, I'm going to mark where I want to start making some lines because I want this sign to look like it's faux shiplap. I am now going to sand off just the edges just to give it a little bit more of a farmhouse look, as well as the center, but very lightly in the center, just to kind of lighten up those stripes. Using my Cricut, I cut out the word home, and I'm going to place it vertically here on the right side of the sign. And once it's on there, guys, we're done. This one turned out so, how do I call it? It's like a very modern farmhouse. I love the way it looks. It's very crisp and so heavy duty. This picture is just beautiful. I love the way it turned out, and I think it would look like it would be in a high-end store. Of scrap wood that I had left over from another project. It's a 1x8, I believe. And then now this is a piece of what was it? It was like a dresser. No, it's like a little side table. And I didn't need this part of it. So I literally, oh, I know what it was. It wasn't a side table. It was an old sewing machine. And I removed this part because I didn't need it. I turned it into like a little center or coffee table, storage table. So I kept it because I just thought it was super cute. I cleaned it off, and I'm now sanding this piece off so it's nice and smooth. Alright guys, so this piece here is very, very reddish tone, and I wanted to keep as much of the staining through on the white paint as possible. So what I am doing here is I am priming with a stain blocking primer. This is Kills, and I use this a lot in my furniture, and I'm just going to do both of them, one coat of this primer. I don't really need to do the larger piece, but because I already have it out, I figured I'd just give it one coat of the primer. But as you can tell, look at the smaller piece. It's already turning pinkish, and this is what happens when you have these very old pieces that are very red tone, and I was afraid that would happen, and it did give me quite a bit of a headache. So after I was done with the one coat, what I had to do was then start adding a coat of shellac. Now, shellac is like a top coat. I don't use it often, only for the purposes of this, like sealing any stains. And I'm just going to do one coat to see if it would work and let it dry. So after the shellac was fully dry, I'm going to add a total of 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. I'm sorry, it wasn't 2 coats, it was just 1 coat of the chalk paint, and I did that on both pieces. Alright guys, so here we are. We still have some pink showing. I'm so frustrated. I am going to now try to spray paint it and see if that'll help. I don't know. We'll see. If not, we'll keep trying. While the other piece dries outside, I am now going to stencil the bigger piece using the Artisa permanent acrylic marker, which I am obsessed with. I recently used this on a sponsored video by Artisa, and it's just so smooth. It's almost very therapeutic. I don't know, I just really like the way it just glides. And so instead of stenciling it with regular like stenciling brush, I thought I'd use this marker because I really loved it. This stencil, I don't know, remember where I got it. But if I do remember and I find it, I'll have it linked down below. But if you go on Amazon, you can just Google, or not Google, if you go on Amazon and search Farmhouse stencil, I'm sure something will come up. All right, so after, basically I'm just going to stencil it, all of it, and then of course let it dry, but it dries very quickly. I'm now going to take my chippy brush here and I'm just going to add a little bit of distress using the Rust-Oleum Country Gray chalk paint. And basically I'm just going to focus on the edges and then very, very little on the middle section, just to add again more of that farmhouse distress look. So the spray paint actually worked, and I was hoping, I think even if I added one more coat of the chalk paint, I think it would have worked, but I just wanted to try something different, and it did work, so I was very happy with that. And I now added some more of that distress using the Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the Country Gray. So now what I'm trying to do here is I want to attach both pieces together. And I tried marking where the holes were with the pencil, or I thought about it, but you just could not get the pencil in there because it's such a small, tight space. So I grabbed this wire that I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm basically just wiggling in there to see if it'll scratch off a little bit of the paint to mark where the holes were, and it was successful. It was there, and I was able to drill a couple holes so then I can put screws in. Now the screws that I needed to put, it's one of those like machinery screws where you would have to put a bolt in the back. I couldn't add regular screws, once again, because it was such a tight space inside that little cubby that I could not get my drill in there. So here I am trying to get or snip these screws because I was having a hard time. I either had too small or too big of screws. So I was able to clip them and it worked really well. And then I had a good size for what I needed. And then I secured them in the back using bolts. And then we'll be done with this one, guys. It's going to be a tabletop kind of farmhouse decor. And look how beautiful. And this was literally scrap piece of wood and a scrap piece of a little sewing machine that I did not need, and look how beautiful it turned out.
But it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead. I've been running circles, trying to catch my breath.
Already an existing sign that I had and made several months ago, and I am going to use the back side. I love the size of it, and I think the idea of having a two-sided sign is always such a smart way of reusing your decor. On the back side, I am going to give it one coat of Waverly chalk paint in the ink.
Look out, here she comes, the woman that I love. It's too bad she'll never know. Yeah, I can't tell her.
Once it was dry, I am going to distress the edges using my palm sander and a 220 grit sandpaper.
I feel because she has someone who makes her happy. I'm a
And then using Cricut Design Space, I purchased this windmill design, which I thought was very cute. And I am going to actually weed it out, but I'm not going to need the actual top portion of the windmill. I'm only going to need the bottom portion, and you're going to see why here in a minute. But I'm going to keep it, of course, because you never know if I'm going to use it in another project.
or at least I try to be. 'Cause I hope that I'm not showing how I feel for her, but she won't feel the same for me. I've got this picture in my mind. It's just the two of us, just the two of us. But I know I'll have to try to let her go, because she won't be mine. I listen when she talks, I watch her when she walks. She's giving me these feelings that I've never felt before, but she will never know that I love her so well. She's with somebody else and I will have to let her go. She will never know, nah, nah. Never know, nah, nah. She will never know, nah, nah. Never know, nah, nah. She'll never know.
For the windmill portion, I'm going to use this Dollar Tree windmill. I'm going to just remove the windmill part, and then I am going to spray paint it using Rust-Oleum flat white spray paint.
It's like she stole my heart without knowing she did. But I guess that it will pass. Yeah, I can't be.
I am going to drill a hole where I want the windmill to sit in, and then I am going to just place a little bit of hot glue in the hole and then place the windmill on it. And then I'm just going to place the original rope that was already on there. I'm going to place it right back on it.
I'm walking down the street on clouds instead of the concrete I'm dancing through. Everything's about to come my way. Nothing can ruin my day, no matter what anyone does or say. I smile at fools. No, I don't care, 'cause I am on my way up, and I won't stop, I won't slow down. Steady on my feet, I'm gonna rise up. No, I won't stop, it is my time. 'Cause I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like when nothing goes your way. So I'm gonna let myself enjoy the fruit from this lucky day. Yeah, I am on my way up, I won't slow down. Yeah, I am on my way.
Use this round wood plank from the Target dollar spot. I'm going to remove the jute twine that came with it, but we're going to replace it back on at the end here. Now I'm going to measure 3 inches from the top and 3 inches from the bottom and tape it, because we're going to be painting it using Waverly chalk paint and the ink, and I gave it one coat.
fire is gone. Across your face, it is written across your face. If you wanna talk, I'm right here, not gonna leave your side. Just feel free to open up when the moment's right. Across your face, it is written across your face.
After removing the tape, I am going to then place more tape. This time I'm going to leave about a 1/2 inch from the line where the black ends, and I am going to also cover the black, that way it won't get ruined. Using Waverly Antiquing Wax, I am going to just brush on one coat and then wipe off the excess to give it a little bit more of an antique brownish look. I am now going to take this stencil that says Farmhouse. I have had this for such a long time. I honestly don't know where I got it, but I love using these stencils, and it's such a great idea for someone who does not have a cutting machine, and it's something that you can reuse project after project like I have. I'm going to use the Waverly ink chalk paint, and I am going to just stenciling it. I'm not looking for perfection. I want it to have a little bit of a distressed look, and I am using a sponge brush. Once I removed the stencil, I am now just going to replace the jute twine on the top. And then using the same white florals from earlier, I am going to create a little swag for the top portion. I'm going to join them together using jute twine and then hot glue it to the top. And we're just about done with this one, and I think again this one turned out so beautiful. I just love the simplicity of these projects. I love that they're just so fresh, so farmhouse, but yet very elegant, and I really love the way this one turned out. And this is it for today, my friend. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. I think for me, it would have to be the window, like that one door that I turned into like a hook kind of window. I just love the way it turned out. But let me know which one is your favorite. If you are visiting for the first time, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you consider joining our YouTube family. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I am going to have a video and a playlist here that you can click on and watch even more inspiration. So check it out. I'll see you later. Have a blessed day. Bye.